So, students, let's start the session. So, in our last class, we have seen up to the rate of sink or rate of climb, okay, or rate of descent. So, we have stopped up to this. So here, what they have given is a glider weighing 4,905 has a Newton has a wing area of 25 meter square and its CDO is equal to 0.012 and aspect ratio is equal to 16 and E equal to 0.87. Determine the minimum angle of glide, maximum range of rate of sink and corresponding speeds under sea level standard conditions. Greatest duration of flight and the greatest distance that can be covered when glided from a height of 300 meter. Neglect the changes in density during glide. Up to glide hodograph in our last class we have seen, but in this class we will be concentrating on this problem and how to solve this problem I will tell you. So what they have given in this problem is the weight of the airplane is given. um, the weight of the airplane W is given and wing area S is given, CDO is given, aspect ratio is given, and asphalt efficiency factor E is given. Okay. So what we need to determine is we need to determine the minimum angle of glide. Minimum angle of glide is, we know the angle of glide is gamma, and when it is comes to minimum, it will be alpha minimum. Sorry, gamma minimum, and minimum rate of sink, that is R by S minimum. Okay. And the velocities, the corresponding velocities of minimum angle of glide or minimum rate of sink and for minimum angle of glide, the velocity at minimum angle of glide we need to find out. Okay. And the greatest distance of flight, greatest distance of flight is R glide, that is a range in glide, and greatest distance that can be covered when glided from a height of 300 meter, that they have given like the maximum range in glide is 300 meter. For 300-meter altitude, from there the aircraft is gliding. So how much distance it will take, that we need to find out. Okay. And the duration, greatest duration of flight, that also we need to consider. Okay. So for finding the angle of glide, first of all they have given like aspect ratio and CDO is given, so we can straight away find the value for CD. Okay. So for finding the formula for CD, we know CD is equal to CDO plus KCL square. Okay. CDO plus KCL square. Okay. So here CDO is given, that is 0.012. 0.012. We know for the value of K, the formula for K is 1 by pi AE. So 1 divided by pi, we can put it as pi, and the value for aspect ratio is 16 here. So into 16 into 16 into 0.87, that is the E value of E. Okay. Then into CL square. Okay. So we don't know the value for CL square, so the equation, so we can keep that CL square as it is. Okay, so and by calculating the formulas, the values for this, for k, we can write like this. The equation becomes 0.012 plus 0. After calculating, we will be getting the values like 0.023 into CL square. Okay, 23 into CL square. So next thing is we need to find the value for CL. So the value for the condition to find the value for CL is, we know, minimum angle of glide will occur at minimum drag condition. Minimum angle of glide will occur at minimum drag condition, and minimum rate of sink will occur at minimum power condition. Okay, so CL at gamma minimum is CL for gamma minimum. Okay, both things we need to find. We need to find for minimum angle of glide, and also we need to find for minimum rate of sink. First we will find for minimum angle of glide. Okay, so CL gamma minimum is equal to CL of MD. Okay, so the formula for CL of MD is, we know the formula for is CDO by square root of CDO by K. So CLMD formula is square root of CDO divided by K. The value for CDO is, that is equal to square root of 0.012 divided by, for K, 0.023. Okay, so by calculating, we will get the values like, for CL gamma minimum, it will be 0.721. So now we can substitute the CL gamma minimum value in this equation. Okay, this equation. So we will get the CD value as CD is equal to 0.012 plus 0.023 into 0.023 into 0.721 square, 0.721 square, 721 square. So that will be equal to, CD is equal to, we will get the equations like, values like 0.024, or else we can use this also. Okay, we'll be getting we can use the formula like, for minimum drag condition, there is a value for CD. So for minimum drag condition, the value for CD is equal to 2 CDO. That is a minimum drag condition. The condition will be CDI is equal to CDO. CDI equal to CDO. So therefore the equation becomes CD is equal to 2 CDO. Okay, so we can use this also, or else we can use this also. So CD equal to, we can use this, CD equal to 2 CDO, that is equal to 0.024. Okay, now we found the value for CD minimum, and now we can substitute this to find the value for gamma minimum. Okay, do you know the formula for gamma minimum is CD by CL minimum. The formula for gamma minimum is equal to CD by CL of minimum. Okay, so that's equal to, CD value of CD is 0.024. So 0.024 divided by 0.721. Okay, so we will get the value like 0.0332 radian. Okay, radian. So this is the value we will be getting for gamma minimum, and we should not put the value of gamma in the, because we need to convert that into degree. After converting into degree, we will be getting the value like 1.9 degree. So this much angle is needed for a minimum angle that the aircraft or glider should have for glider should be flying at least it should fly at this degree. Okay, then only it can glide. That is a concept. So next thing is we need to find the value for CL and CD at minimum power condition. Okay, for finding the rate of sink minimum, so for minimum power condition, CL is equal to CL is equal to CLMP. CLMP, there is a minimum power, that is equal to square root of 3 into CLMD. Square root of 3 into CLMD, that means square root of 3 into 0.721. Okay, so the answer will be equal to 0.721 into square root of 3. We will be getting the answers like 1.25. Okay, 1.25. So we found the value for CL for minimum power condition. Now we need to find the value for CD. So CD is equal to, the formula for CD is 4CDO. Okay, so just a way, what you need to remember is, you need to remember the value for formulas for minimum drag condition and minimum power condition. So the value will be 0.048. 0.048. Okay, so we will be getting, now we got the value for CL, MP and CD. Okay, CL and CD. Now as I told earlier itself, gamma minimum, we can find the gamma minimum by using CLMD, okay, or LMD, minimum drag condition, by using all minimum drag values. Rate of sink minimum, we can find the value for this rate of sink minimum from minimum power condition only. Okay, minimum power condition. So this is the thing you need to remember. Okay, so now we can find the value for R by S minimum. So R by S minimum is equal to, the formula is 2W divided by these things and all already we have seen in our last class. So 2W divided by rho s into whole power 1 by 2 into CD divided by CL power 3 by 2 of minimum. CD divided by CL of 3 by 2 minimum. Okay, so already W is given, rho we can straight away put the value like 1.225. Surface area is given, that is 25. CD, we have found the value for CD as 0.048, CLS 1.25. So by substituting the value, we will be getting the value answer like 0.615. meter per second. Okay, the answer is 0.615 meter per second. Okay, so we found the value of minimum angle of glide and also minimum rate of sink. Okay, next thing what we need to find is, we need to go for the flight velocities. Okay, we should find the values for the flight velocities. So first we need to find the value for the minimum velocity at minimum angle of glide, that is V gamma minimum. Okay, so V gamma minimum, the formula is 2W divided by rho s CL whole power 1 by 2. This is the same formula like what to say, both are same formula only. Only thing, for gamma minimum we should use CL of MD. Okay, for CL is equal to L divided by half rho V square S. Okay, so from that V square equal to, and here we can substitute the L equal to W. So W 2W divided by rho S into CL. Okay, same thing, same formula only, for only but for angle of glide we need to use CL MD. Okay, for For rate of sync, we need to use minimum power condition. Okay, that is the difference. So that is equal to, we will be getting the value like, we can substitute it here, 2 into 4905 divided by rho 1.225 into s is 25 into, for CL we know the value like 0.721. This is the CL value, 0.721. So the value is 21.05 meter per second. And for our velocity at minimum rate of sync, R by S minimum, will be getting the value like same thing only thing here, we need to substitute the value of CL for minimum power condition. Okay, so 2 into 4905 divided by 1.225 into 25 into 1.25. So this is what we need to substitute. Okay, so 1.25. okay, so by substituting we will be getting the answers like 16 meter per second. So the answer will be 16 meter per second. So we found two velocities, one for minimum angle of glide and minimum rate of sync. Okay, so here we can see the velocity is decreased during the minimum rate of sync values. Okay, so next what we need to find is, we need to find the value for greatest duration of flight when the glider is glided from a height of 300 meter. Okay, so the formula for range and endurance I will write for glide. So R glide, that is equal to h by gamma. Okay, or we can write like this, h into CL divided by CD, h into CL divided by CD. And so that is equal to, we know the value for that is 300, and for gamma we found like 0. This is the value we found for gamma, divided by 0.0332. So the answer is 9.04 kilometer, 9.04 kilometer. Okay, and the endurance of glide is, E glide is equal to EG, that is E glide is equal to h by VD, h by VD. We know what is VD. VD is the vertical velocity of descent, that's, or else we can say that as R by S. So h, we know the value for h as 300. Okay, divided by, we need to substitute the value like 0.61 and 5. Okay, so the answer will be 487 seconds. So this is how we need to find the value. Simply we need to just remember one or two formulas only. With that formulas we can easily solve that sum. Okay, so next we can move on to the next session, next topic. There is a takeoff. So we know the different missions of an aircraft, or different flight paths of an aircraft. Okay, we know this is the flight path of an aircraft. So first of all, the flight missions will start from here. When the engine starts, the flight missions will start. Okay, and when the engine stops, the flight mission stops. Okay. So here the topics what we are going to see is the takeoff and landing. That is one of the flight missions. Takeoff is the after ground run. We have the first mission is the takeoff. Okay, that is takeoff. And after descent, the last mission what we have here is the landing. So that's why we are learning about this takeoff and landing. So when an aircraft comes to airborne, that means when it's lift off from the ground, that is called the takeoff. So in order to lift off from the ground, aircraft need to uh, increase it or accelerate to a speed of speed that that means it should accelerate to some higher speeds. Okay, then only it can take off. So in my experience, I have I have flown flown in one of the gliders, powered hang gliders, and in that also I saw in a real time that the pilot is speeding up and he's accelerating to its maximum. So the aircraft speed is increased. Then only it can then aircraft can take aircraft took off from the ground. Okay, so automatically I felt that so that's why actually we studied everything when I was riding the glider only. I understood that it is true that we need to rush up or we need to accelerate the aircraft to a particular speed that is very high speed. So then only it can that much thrust is needed for an aircraft to take off. Okay, so the speed or the velocity for an aircraft during takeoff is the takeoff velocity. So that will be greater than the stalling speed also. Okay, that will be greater than the stalling speed. So that is called the takeoff velocity. Okay. So initially, and there is another one speed is there that is called the touchdown speed. Okay. For when an aircraft comes to land, it will be flying at some velocity. That velocity is called touchdown velocity. That is the velocity when the aircraft touches down the ground. Okay. So two types of speeds. One is takeoff speed or takeoff velocity. Next one is the touchdown velocity or touchdown speed. Okay. So for a takeoff performance, we need to know some terms. One is the takeoff run, takeoff distance, screen height, transition. Okay. So first we will see what is the takeoff run. Okay. The takeoff run is suppose an aircraft is starting from here. This is the point. Okay. Up to this much, the aircraft will be in the ground only. Up to when the aircraft reaches this point only, it is liftoffs from the ground. Okay. So up to the horizontal distance from here to here, that is the horizontal distance covered by an aircraft in the ground until it is lift off from the ground, until it is airborne, is called the takeoff run. Okay. Then next one is the takeoff distance. Takeoff distance is the horizontal distance covered by an airplane from start means from here to the screen height. So the screen height is nothing but an height reached by an aircraft after it is take off from the or it took off from the ground. Okay. So initially the takeoff or the screen height will be about 10 meter or 15 meter. Okay. So that much area is called the takeoff or screen height. Okay. So here you can see clearly from this is the starting point of an airplane, and first, up to this point the aircraft will be in ground only. It is running in ground only. So that is called that up to this distance is called the ground run. Okay. After ground run, aircraft will reach the particular altitude, sorry, the particular velocity, that will be the takeoff velocity. When it reaches the takeoff velocity, it will lift off from the ground. Okay. When it lift off from the ground, it will be airborne. Okay. So after that, it will climb to a certain distance, that will be up to 15 meter or 10 meter. Okay. That depend upon the airport, or we can say that it will be the airport wall, and up to 10 meters it will climb. Okay. That much region is called the this region is called the transition. Before climbing, when it is lift off, this is called the transition region. After transition region, it will climb to some altitude. Okay. So the height of 15 meter is called the screen height from the ground. Okay. So when an aircraft lift offs from the ground, the aircraft should the nose wheel of the aircraft will lift off. Okay. So when it will lift off means the aircraft should reach up to 85% of its maximum speed. Okay. When the aircraft is speed is achieved of about 85% only, the nose wheel will lift off from the ground. Okay. The nose wheel will lift off from the ground. Okay. And also one more thing, sometimes the for in like the Cessna type aircrafts and like olden days aircrafts and all, the landing gear it will be having a main landing gear and a tail landing gear. Okay. Some aircrafts will have a tail landing gear, some aircrafts will have a nose landing gear. In a tail landing gear means that it will be the aircraft is initially at the inclined positions only. So first what we will do means, when the aircraft reaches some particular speed, the tail will be lift off. Tail will be first lift off, and after that, when it reaches the takeoff speed, automatically we will deflect the elevator, so that automatically the tail is brought down, and the aircraft will pitch up, so that the aircraft will have a required amount of climb. But in normal Cessna type aircrafts and all, what they will do means, initially flap will be setted. Okay. But in bigger aircrafts also, passenger aircrafts also, what they will do means, they will set the flap in such a way so that it can take off. Okay. Generally, some olden days aircrafts and low class aircrafts and all, they will set in at the start itself they will set. But in good aircrafts and all, in passenger aircrafts and all, they will set after, when it is reaches up to some speeds only, they will deflect the flap, so that and when we reaches the 85 percentage of or maximum speed, we can lift off the aircraft from the ground. Okay. So this is what I have explained here. So I have told this transition and climb phases also. So after aircraft after ground run, the next phase is the transition phase. Okay. In the transition phase, all two landing gears will be, or the three wheels will be lift off, and it will be retracted. Okay. Sometimes it won't be retracted at the time. After climb to certain height only, it will be retracted, or it climb height only, it will be retracted. In a non-retractable landing gears and all, in a transition phase, in the transition phase, the aircraft will be airborne only. Okay. The next is the climb phase. So why we are considering this takeoff performance means, why we are estimating, we should know up to how much distance the aircraft need to travel for taking off. Okay. Because normally, we know the international airports and different types of airports we have, and in each airports they will have some runway length. Okay. uh, Suppose we should know how much distance this aircraft is covering during its takeoff, and also how much distance an aircraft is needs for landing also. depend upon that only we will be designing our runway also, and sometimes the runway will be then only we may know whether we can land here or whether we can take off from up to from this distance itself, that and all we will understand from this only. Okay, so that's why we are considering the and also one more thing, the time taken for it, because during takeoff how much seconds it is taking, or how much time it is taking for taking off from the ground, that we need to estimate it. So that's why the purpose of seeing the takeoff performance of an aircraft. Okay, so everything comes from the equation of motion only, because we will be we know the normal forces acting on the aircrafts are lift, drag, thrust, and here the drag lift, drag, thrust, and weight is the these things are normal forces acting on the aircraft. Okay, and there is a ground reaction also acting, and with the rolling friction is also acting, because the aircraft is a ground run, it is running in the ground, which is not flying. Okay, so based upon that, these two factors will also considered. Okay, when considering these two factors, we should draw the force diagram in such a way so that it will be considered, and the equation of motion of parallel forces and perpendicular forces, we can find the formula for distance covered and time taken also. Okay, so for now we are considering the parallel forces. The parallel forces what we have here is T, thrust is here, this is the thrust, and drag is in opposite direction, so minus D, and UR, that is a friction, rolling friction, so minus mu into R, that is equal to W, that is MA. Okay, that is the mass into acceleration, that is the aircraft is moving. Okay, so the MA we will be, you can write the mass is equal to W by G, that's why I am putting like W by G. These are the parallel forces. Okay, then while considering the perpendicular forces, here we won't consider the angular velocities and all, because the aircraft is in normal motions only. And so the perpendicular forces what we have here is lift is here minus W, and also here we have the ground reaction R also there, that is in the positive direction, so L plus R minus W equal to 0, and from this we can find this R, that is equal to W minus L. Okay, so we can now while considering this equation, we can find the value for this A, acceleration. So A equal to, we can write like T minus D minus mu into, for W, for R we can put it like W minus L divided by W minus L divided by W by G. Okay, and but we know A equal to, that is acceleration is dV by dt, meter per second square. Okay, so dV by dt we can write like this, dV by ds into ds by dt. Okay, ds by dt, we know the ds by dt is V, so we can put it like V into dV by ds, A equal to V into dV by ds. So from this we know the we are calculating for distance and time only. Okay, so for calculating the distance, we need to, we can take like this. So we know A equal to V dV by S. So from that, S is equal to ds equal to V dV divided by A. So integrating it, we will be getting the value like S1, or S we can put. Why we are considering this means that it is considered for ground run. The ground run we are, I am just putting like 1, and this, then for the transition it is 2, then climb for it is 3, like that we will put. Okay, so for 1, S1 equal to integral of 0 to V1, that means the velocity reached at that point is V1, at that condition of 1, initial condition 1 is equal to, so V1 we are putting. v1 into v divided by a. But we know the value for a, so here we have the value for a. The value for a is a equal to t minus d minus mu w minus l divided by w by g. Okay, so we can put it here like this: w by g into integral of 0 to v1 v dv divided by t minus d minus mu into w minus l. Okay, so this is one of the equation for finding the ground run. Second one is time taken during ground run is t1 equal to integral of 0 to v dv by a, that is equal to this also we already we have seen. We know a equal to dv by t, from that dt equal to dv by a. Okay, so by substituting it with the value of a, we can write like this: w by g integral of 0 to v1 dv divided by t minus d minus mu into w minus l. Okay, here we can see there is a value for mu. That mu depends upon the different types of surfaces. Okay, so I have listed the different types of surfaces here. If it is a concrete or wood or asphalt, means the coefficient of friction is rolling friction is 0.02. Okay, and it is if it is a concrete, sorry, if it is a hard turf, means then the value is 0.04. If there is a short grass in the turf, means then it is the friction will be 0.05. If there is a long grass, means 0.1, and the soft ground means 0.1 to 0.3. Okay, so this is the values. Just note down these values also. Just note down these values. Okay, now we can move on to the next one. So here we have seen the value for thrust. There is a equation like t minus d minus mu r equal to w by g into a, and normally we know the value for thrust we can be approximated as a minus bv square. Okay, so by substituting this equation, the total t minus, that is a value of a, will change. Okay, that we will see now how it is changing, and how the formula for s and t will be determined. So t minus d minus mu into w minus l equal to, for t we can put it as a1 minus b1 v square. So a1 minus b1 v square minus mu into w minus for there is a d also, so we can put it like this: minus half this is 1 by 2 rho v square s into cd minus mu into cl. Okay, mu into cl, that means they have put for minus minus of d minus l. Okay, minus of d minus l, that's for that only the value is like this. Okay, so these things we can there's a thing for b, and there's a thing for this constants. Okay, so I'm just taking like a1 minus mu w as a, and the remaining things as b. Okay, so it will, the equation becomes a minus bv square. Okay, so b equal to b1 plus half rho into s into cd minus mu cl. Okay, this is the thing we will be, consider for b. Okay, now substituting the values in the s1 and t1, we will be getting the equations like s1 equal to w by g integral of 0 to v1 v dv divided by a minus bv square, that is equal to w by 2g into b ln a by a minus b into v1 square. Okay, and so just write this equation, and the for t1, while substituting the value of a minus b square and t, we will be getting like w by g integral of 0 to v1 dv by a minus bv square, we can put it like w by 2g into square root of ab ln of square root of a plus square root of b into v1 divided by square root of a minus square root of b into v1. Okay, so by finding the value of A and B and also this W, and by knowing the value of these things we can easily find the value for S1. And also if we have the value for A, B and also V1, we can easily find the value for this T1 also. Okay, so the time and time taken for the ground run and the time distance taken for distance covered by during a ground run is calculated by using this formula. Okay, and we can see here the denominator, it will be a integrand. There is an acceleration force during the takeoff run. So normally we are we have given a accelerating force. That is value of accelerating force is equal to 0.7 v1. Okay, so the accelerating force for this thing is equal to 0.7 v1. So the equation will become like W by 2g into v1 square divided by fa. Okay, so fa will be 0.7 v1. This will be the average value given for this. So W into v1 divided by 2g into f1 fa. Okay, this is for s1. During ground run we can use this equation. Okay, and for time taken for W into v1 divided by g into fa. Okay, so this thing also. And for takeoff speed, the takeoff speed will be, the value will be 1.1 to 1.2 of vs, and CL at takeoff will be equal to 0.8 times the CL at landing. The condition is for takeoff the CL will be 0.8 times uh, than the greater than the CL land. Okay, so here we have different speeds. One is the stalling speed. We know the stalling speed already. So um, we when the CL will be maximum, then that is will be the called the stalling speed. At that time the velocity is will be called the stalling speed. Okay, and minimum control, then next one is the minimum control speed on ground. That means the speed at which the deflection of the control, deflection of the rudder, when the we will be deflecting the rudder during some one engine inoperative condition. That is the speed required for controlling on ground. Okay, that is the minimum control speed on ground. And when the aircraft is flying in air, for counteracting the yaw movement, if the rudder is deflected, means the speed at which it is deflected is called the minimum control speed in air. Okay, and decision speed is the speed uh, of an airplane during its during an engine inoperative one engine inoperative condition. um, the decision taken for an decision taken, the speed of the decision taken during the during one engine inoperative condition during ground, in ground. Okay, then next is the lift off speed. That is the speed at which the aircraft is lift off from the ground. So next is the transition phase. Okay, so to find the value at the transition phase, there are some formulas. By using that formulas we can easily find the value for the transition phase. So during transition phase the velocity will be, it will be, the condition will be 2, so that time the velocity will be v2, and the distance covered is s2, and the time taken is t2. Okay, so just a way we can put here like this: s2 equal to w by 2g. The formula is w by 2g into v2 square minus v1 square divided by t minus t. Okay, and the time taken for this t2 is equal to s2 divided by 0.5 into v2 plus v1. That is average speed during this phase. Okay, so normally v2 will be equal to 1.052 to 1.1 of v1. Okay, the value will be 1.05 to 1.1 of v1, and we know the value of one v1 will be 1.152 1.2 of Vs. That is the Vs is the stalling velocity. Okay, stalling velocity. So this is a formula for finding the transition speed, the distance covered during transition, and also the time taken during transition phase. Okay. Next is the screen height. That means an aircraft to climb up to the screen height. Okay. So for that we have considered like we put the period for that motion will be 3. Okay. The stage will be 3. I'm considering it as 3. Okay. So S3 is equal to screen height divided by tan gamma. Okay. These things see here from this part only we have taken like this. 1 second. So this will be the screen height. So it will be flying at some angle. So the normally we can put it like sin gamma equal to screen height is the height. 1 second. One second. So screen height divided by tan gamma. Or we can put it like tan gamma equal to screen height divided by screen height divided by S3. Okay, so normally we know sin gamma equal to T minus D divided by W. So from that we can put it like the time taken for climb T3 equal to screen height divided by V2 into sin gamma. Time taken is V2 into sin gamma. Okay, so now we found the value for S1, S2, S3. Same way we have found the value for T1, T2, T3. So the total distance covered during the takeoff is S equal to S1 plus S2 plus S3, and the time taken is T equal to T1 plus T2 plus T3. So thing is we have found two things: the distance and time taken for takeoff will be found by found like this, that is S equal to S1 plus S2 plus S3, and T is equal to T1 plus T2 plus T3. Okay, so this is how we need to find the value for find the distance takeoff distance and the time taken for during takeoff. Okay, so that's it. We can wind up here. We can see the next some you can solve some problems regarding these things in our next class. Okay.